my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. So today this video ties on really nicely from Tuesday's video, which was Time is All an Illusion, and today I want to talk to you all about the divine feminine work. Oh, I do love a good peppermint tea. Again, drinking tea as always, very freaking British. So what is the work? And I want to focus this really on the divine feminine only because I am a divine feminine and I really want to focus on that just because it's been prominent in my own life and that's what I understand. So I'm sorry if this doesn't relate to the divine masculines out there. I'm sure there are some fantastic videos out there, but yeah, I just really feel that this is suited for my feminines. I have, once again, as I have explained in the other video I did, that have just been on like the craziest freaking journey of self-development the last 3 months, like crazy journey, which has been so good and so freaking healing, like the best thing ever. So I am a twin flame, so obviously this is going to be probably a little bit more directed towards the work done in twin flame relationships, but I equally feel like even if you're not a twin flame, this is so relevant and can help so many people because the divine feminine as a whole always has stuff to do. Like, this is relevant for you guys as well. It's just more prominent and more intense in the twin flame journey because obviously this is what the healing and purging stage is and why we need to do the work, what soul mission is, and how we can work towards ascension in twin flame relationships. So the work essentially is, and I've done a podcast on this as well if you want to listen to that as well, because I have discussed loads of stuff on that podcast about the work and what we need to do. So the work in general, I'm gonna get to twin flames in a second, but the work in general is our soul mission. So when we're up in spirit, before we come down here, I like to imagine that we like sit around a big round table with all of our soul family, with our twins, with soulmates, with everybody, our soul family, and we sit down and say, right, in Emma's life, what's gonna happen? We're gonna do this, then you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna come in, and then you're gonna do this, which leads me to do this, and then you're gonna come in and spiritually awaken me, and then this is gonna happen. Oh, and then you're gonna come in, and then we're gonna have like a whole twin flame thing, and boom, we're gonna awaken. Yeah, so I like to think that we have this like board meeting of planning essentially the big things that happen in our life to help us learn our soul mission. So our soul mission is like the lessons we come into this life wanting to learn. So our experiences and our circumstances and, you know, even the really shit things that happen to us and the really good things are all part of our soul mission. It's all what we've physically chosen to come here and learn and live by essentially. So we choose these things to happen so that we can learn, evolve, and become a better soul and, like, you know, ascend, I guess, or evolve into an older soul where we learn things so we can teach others. So, you know, we can come back as spirit guides in other lives. We can come back as, you know, loads of different things. We don't always have to come here and do stuff. Like, you know, I've been a spirit guide before, I was told. So I would have guided someone here on earth through the lessons I've learned. So yeah, there's tons of stuff to learn about that, like past lives and all of that, but essentially like our soul mission is the work we've come here to do. So there's only so long we can avoid this work, and I think my work has been echoed throughout quite a lot of my life, but yeah, I ignored it for a while. And what tends to happen is, and do you know what, to some extent I think probably we do have to ignore it for a while, but you know, I think we have opportunities of when we pick up that work or we spiritually awaken as such. And I definitely put mine off for so long that the universe like hit me like a truck. And this is what happens when we ignore our work long enough, we get hit by a truck. And it's actually quite funny because of the twin flame side of things, like I've kind of felt, and I'll get to this later, like I kind of felt like he was going to be hit by a truck like I was, but what actually ended up happening was I was hit by a truck again, and then when I did my work, he did his work. So I'll get to the whole twin flame process later, but yeah, like I've had that happen twice now. Like when you ignore the work and when you're just in your human mind as such and you're ignoring it, the universe is like, right, it's time you woke up. It's time you learnt this and learnt this good. So my first hit by a truck moment was obviously when I spiritually awoke 2 years ago, and that was very dramatic, very painful. I definitely went through something called dark night of the soul, if you've ever heard of that, and it was a very dark but transformational time. It literally led me to everything I do now, and it literally, like, dark night of the soul, you like shed your old you, and that totally happened to me. Like, I shed everything about who I was, and people were like, you're literally like a different person. And it's so true. Like, when you come out of dark night of the soul, when you spiritually awaken, you do like shed the old you. So that was like the beginning of my work. And you know, away from twin flame stuff, I think we're always doing work. The lessons are never over. Definitely not. Like, yes, we may have periods of time where lessons feel more intense, or we feel like we're constantly learning and constantly healing and constantly addressing wounds. And sometimes we're in periods of our life where we are actioning our stuff, and we are teaching people, and we are almost kind of implementing the things we've learned. So that's what I feel that happens a lot in my life. I'll go through periods of learning where I need to shut myself off and learn, and then I go through periods of teaching where I then have to action that. So a bit like now, like I've come out of my learning stage recently, and I'm now into teaching stage where I now go and implement everything I've learned and prove that I've learned the lesson. So the work is definitely the soul work, and the way you can make sure you're doing the work is to just show up every day. Like, show up to the universe, show up to you, and show up to your spiritual practices. So whether that's, you know, just doing some EFT every now and again, but definitely doing gratitude every day. Like, you know, if you're doing your daily practices and really showing up for yourself and showing up for the universe, that is your work. The lessons will come and go, but you'll be more able to witness them and acknowledge them when they happen, instead of ignoring them. Like, the only way we don't do the work is if we're just like really switched off to our spirituality. We're not doing like anything. We're just kind of, you know, sailing along life, kind of thinking like, yep, all is well, and then yeah, all is not well. So it's basically like, if you get triggered or you feel a wound comes up and you ignore it, like that's gonna keep happening until you address it, and that is something I didn't do. So with a twin flame, when you first meet, everything is called bubble love. And definitely go and check out my beautiful friend Cheryl Muir. I will link her in the description box down below, because she explains all of this so freaking incredibly well. And she, like, I thought I knew what twin flames were, but Jesus Christ, until all of this happened, I clearly knew nothing. I clearly didn't. So Cheryl is so good at explaining all this stuff, and has just awakened my mind to the truths of twin flame, and has really helped me to actually deal with this, like deal with my work and deal with my wounds, because funnily enough, this was all me, it was never him. So that was like another big realization, that it was actually my wounds that weren't healing, not his. So yeah, Cheryl's work is so good for helping the divine feminine to do her work in the twin flame union, and to just understand what the fuck goes on most of the time. But yeah, even if you're not a twin flame, some of that work may resonate with you still, but yeah, it's kind of directed more to twins. So you have your bubble love stage where everything's amazing, everything's sunshiny and rosy, and then you have your trigger stage. So this is what happens when you trigger each other, and you basically just bring out all the shit that needs to heal. And yeah, it is horrible. It's the most turbulent thing ever, and it's difficult because obviously I'm awakened and I understand this stuff, whereas he doesn't. And I kind of have to sit there knowing what the hell's going on and thinking like, okay, there's some order to this craziness, but then I have to humanly express that to him and be like, there's a plan, this is meant to happen. Like, it is hard. So if you're in the same position, like, I totally feel you. It is so hard to communicate that sometimes there is a purpose to all of this, and especially with twin flames, there is a very drawn out process. Like, there is a process that is probably, like, every twin flame relationship is different, of course, but in my instance it was very textbook. So like, things happen differently. Some twins won't separate, some twins will, some twins will do stuff, some twins won't. Like, there's no set rule, but ultimately there's a kind of, you know, there is a kind of process which most conform to. And yeah, I was like, I had all this like reassurance from all Cheryl's work and other people's work, like, yes, I'm not crazy, this is all meant to be happening, okay, I know what I'm doing. So we went into separation, and that was actually not as bad as what I thought it would be. I think because I'm so in touch with my intuition, and I'm so in touch with how I am, like, because I'd gone through all that like traumatic triggering and wounds and shit like that, I was kind of quite relieved in a sense to kind of just be like, okay, that was too much, that was intense, I need to focus on me, I need to freaking focus on me. So I really like went back to the classroom. Like I said, I got into A Course in Miracles, I got into A Return to Love, and Cheryl's work especially just so helped me really understand and learn what the hell was going on, and how I had been once again ignoring my work. So the universe had like hit me with this truck by the separation and like some other stuff to do with my business and stuff like that. Like it was just a big life truck of wake the fuck up, Emma, like come on. So I then just started to really work on myself again, like really address these wounds. Like he had triggered so much, and like for anybody who's not understanding this is not a bad thing. Like he's an amazing person. Like I've triggered stuff in him too. This is a twin flame thing. Like he's not a dick, he is a lovely person, and so am I. Like this is what happens, you trigger each other, and all these wounds and all these things have come up to the surface, and I was like, okay, I thought I'd healed myself, clearly not. So it was an absolute call for me to heal myself and awaken even further. And since I've done this, my work, it's so much more fulfilling. Like I feel like I've downloaded 80,000 years of more knowledge. I feel like I've really advanced spiritually, like up a few levels, and I understand more. I've really released my ego, which has been a really good thing. I have really released judgment. I've really worked on my like sexual history wounds. Like there is so much stuff I have healed, which has been like almost like a massive fresh of breath air. Like I really can't tell you. So it does feel scary, and if you're a twin flame who's in separation right now, like oh my god, I feel you. Like it is scary, because to some points, even if you do feel certain that you know you are going to be together or whatever happens, like there's still the human part of you which is like, okay, but you're here right now, like things aren't great, what's happening? So separation is really tough, but it is actually also incredibly healing. And I really had to learn my independence again. I really had to learn to stop putting my feelings second best and to fix. And that's the thing, because I'm a fixer, I'm a healer, like I do that for a job. This is what this is. It was just so easy for me to like put aside my feelings and put aside my wounds and to just try and heal him and like mother him and try and like fix him. And that's just not what had to happen at all, like the complete opposite. So I had to really like take myself away and be like strict on myself. And there was a lot of karmic cycles, and this is what happens with twins. Like you go into these karmic cycles where things keep repeating because you're not learning the lesson. So like same low level behavior on his behalf would happen, and the same, and I was just running like a motherfucker. Like I was running, coming back, running, coming back, running, coming back, running, coming back. Like I am the runner. Like, and I never thought I would say that, but yeah. And what really helped me was Delano saying to me, like we met up in London, and it was amazing to like spend time with him, and he said to me, he said, you know it will be over when you stop running, like you need to really remember. And he said the universe is showing you that no matter how far you push him away, he's always going to come back. And that is so true. And I was running and I was like, oh my god, like this is another karmic cycle. Like they were just, I was breaking them all and doing all the work and healing and ascending and healing all my wounds. And then I was like, shit, there's another karmic cycle. There's another thing that's happening. So it was a lot to witness, but the more I really like witnessed it, and something which really helped me was especially when I was in like judgment of him or couldn't forgive him for something, because there was a lot of low level behavior that I was tolerating, which meant it was happening because it was a karmic cycle. Because I wasn't standing up and saying no, like I was just doing what I had done in previous relationships, which was tolerating stuff. It was another karmic cycle. So especially with twins, like, and you know, there may be some people who aren't twin flames watching this who do still connect to this stuff, because this is still divine feminine work. It all relates to everybody. It's just slightly different when you've got a twin flame involved. So yeah, I was witnessing that like all this behavior that I had accepted in previous relationships was happening again. And I was like, okay, you need to stand up for yourself. And the divine feminine is when she is in her power. And especially if you're a twin flame, you need to be in your power through the healing and purging process, through the separation process. Like you have to be in your power, because like, even from a human logic, if someone's like moping around and not doing anything and just like being a wreck, like that's not attractive. But when you're in your like Beyonce power, you're just like bossing it and being like, I still love myself, I love my life, that's attractive to someone, and that is extremely attractive to a twin or whatever, because it is like energy, it's the energy you're giving off. So again, please check out Cheryl's work. I know I'm just like saying check out Cheryl, but she explains all of this in so much detail. And yeah, like basically being in your divine feminine power is exactly what we're meant to be doing. We're not meant to be just not doing our work, like, and this is all part of the work, acknowledging our power and standing up and saying no, like, this is not acceptable, this is low level behavior, no. So when I really worked on those karmic cycles, like the whole freaking game changed, like it really did. And by witnessing that I was running and really getting still, and this is what I spoke about in my other video when I said that like I released time and I was able to live fully in the present, that was also by staying still. So I kind of like imagined this, like, you know, like the infinity symbol. I kind of imagined that I was running and he was chasing, and we were just going around in this circle, like, and sometimes we'd meet in the middle and then I would run again and the chase would be on, and then he would run, and basically what ended up happening was then he was running. So we were both just like running, chasing, staying still, blah, 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 blah. And it was just crazy. So I imagined myself, and I generally think this visualization actually helped me understand the concept and also helped me to put out to the universe, I guess, the message of I'm still, like, I'm not running, I acknowledge what this is what I want, I'm staying still, I'm doing my work, I'm focusing on myself. So I just imagined myself sat in the middle of the infinity sign, so bang in the middle. And at first I saw myself facing his side while he was running around, and then I was like, okay, no, because that's focusing on his stuff, that's not focusing on my stuff. So I then visualized myself turning my back almost and looking at my side of the circle and saying, right, I'm protecting my side, I'm working on my side, I'm working on my issues, while he runs around in circles and does whatever the fuck he's doing. So I don't even know whether that makes sense, but that's the visualization I had, and it really helped me to just get my head around why I was running. So that visualization of being sat still really helped me to be present, really helped me to release time, really helped me to just be freaking present. And A Return to Love, again, gonna say that book again. If you're a twin, it will really help. If you're not a twin, again, really helps. It's such a good book on just really finding yourself, finding your love for you and working on you. So if you are feeling called to do the divine feminine work, that book is ace. So yeah, by like sitting still, acknowledging I was sitting still and saying, I am sitting still, I'm not running. And what actually happened was through my vulnerability, and I decided to be really vulnerable because I'd never done that in my life before. I'd always run, I'd always been cagey, I'd always close up and run when a guy would hurt me or, you know, not be as loving or not interested or reject me. Like, I'd always just be like closed up and run. So I really, again, that was another thing I witnessed. That was another lesson I learned, that vulnerability was my power. And when I went to Gabby's judgment detox, like a person in the audience asked about vulnerability, and she was like, what's wrong with vulnerability? There's nothing wrong with it. That's where the power lies. For me, that was such an eye opener, because I was like, wow, okay, I've been fearing being vulnerable, but vulnerable is exactly what I need to do right now. So I took a massive risk, and this is what I've been doing at the moment. I've been taking big ass risks in my business, in my career, in my love life, like big ass risks, and they've paid off tremendously. And that's because it's like your faith in the universe. You're saying, I am gonna jump off this big fucking cliff because I believe you, universe, that you will catch me, that I am meant to be exactly where I am, and that this risk or this vulnerability is what I'm meant to be doing. So for me, that was one of my soul lessons, like, to be vulnerable is actually safe. Like, I can trust that, and I can trust that I'm always protected and looked after. So I got really vulnerable, really vulnerable, and just laid all my cards on the deck in life, of business, relationship, like career, everything. Laid all my cards on the table and said, that's who I am. This is who I am. whether you want to be with me, great. If you don't, not my problem. Like, I'm still a whole amazing person. Like, I'm in my divine feminine power. I've done my work. I understand. And what, especially like relationship side of stuff and twin stuff, was I actually knew when I completed the work. I actually kind of witnessed it, like, right, that was the final layer. That was the final layer. Now, we always are doing work. Like, obviously, if you're not a twin flame, we're always doing work. Like, the lessons don't stop. But this period of the twin flame stage, I guess you can say, had completed. Like, the healing and ascension had completed. And I really felt that. Like, I felt when that happened, and it felt good. I just felt so happy, so at peace, and oh my god, I was just like, I have nothing to worry about. I was so like certain in that moment, like, I've got nothing to worry about. And what ended up happening was within a week he did all of his work, and I was just in shock. And I actually, the only reason I had like acknowledged that was because of something Cheryl had said. She said that in an Instagram post, I think it was, that the divine masculine only does his work once the divine feminine has completed hers. And for ages I was like, he has all this work to do, he needs to do this, like, he needs to do that. And in that moment I was like, it was me. It was actually all me. Like, I am so happy now. I've healed everything. I'm amazing. And within a week, he literally did every bit of work. And then he'd come out of his dark night of the soul. And then he was back, like, lifted. And then he was like a whole different person. And I was like, what is happening, universe? Like, what? Like, a week. A week. So if you are in separation and you're a twin flame, or maybe even if you're not, maybe even if you're just going through the healing and the purging stage yourself, like, listen to what I'm saying, listen to the steps I've gone through, because it really, really, really helps. And obviously check out Cheryl's work as well, because that really helps. She has some awesome meditations and weekly videos which just helped me so much. I can't even say, like, I literally don't think I would have been able to do all of this without that work, because it was just so crystal clear to me, so easy to understand, and just so truthful. Like, it all resonated with me. So yeah, that's what happens when you do the work, he does the work too. And yeah, if you're not a twin flame and like all of this just makes no sense to you, then obviously like the work in yourself consists of being in your divine feminine power. And the divine feminine is a very like birthing, mothering, like birthing projects is like the main trait. Not like totally surrender to time is another trait of the divine feminine. Like, she's not worried about time. She's so certain of everything. She's just birthing. And when I say birthing, like, I don't just mean babies, but like birthing ideas, birthing businesses, birthing creativity, birthing anything, like ideas, creativity. That's what that means. And yeah, your divine masculine. So we have 50% of each in our body. If all of this sounds crazy to you and you're like, what is the difference? So in our bodies, so like, I'm a divine feminine in this life and my twin is a divine masculine in this life, but it's not always the way, even because like I could be a feminine or a female and be a divine masculine sometimes. Like, there's no like preference. It is what it is, basically. Like, there's a really amazing couple that I found on YouTube called Twin Flame Revolution, and they're a same-sex couple, and obviously, you know, they're two women, so one's a divine masculine and one's a divine feminine. So it's not always as black and white as whoever is the female and whoever is the male or whatever is that. Like, so yeah, obviously, like, in this lifetime I am the masculine, I am the feminine, and he is the masculine, but equally in each of our bodies we have both. So I've been in my masculine for many years, and you can tell people who are in their masculine because they're like, they succeed really easily, they execute like a motherfucker, like they just do so much. Like, the divine masculine is all about like execution, drive, like, yeah, like, I'm very good at being in my divine masculine. I'm not very good at being in my divine feminine, and that's what I have learned so much the last like 6 months, is embracing my feminine side as well. So being nurturing, working on myself, standing in my divine feminine power, birthing things. Like, I've birthed like a motherfucker the last 6 months, literally. I've birthed so much. So I know that I have definitely stepped into my divine feminine more. So it's about finding that healthy equal balance, and same for your divine masculine. They should find that healthy equal balance between both as well. So twin flames are sick. Like, that's not just a twin flame thing, that is an everybody thing. So yeah, like if the whole twin flame thing makes no sense to you and you're not a twin flame, that's fine. The divine feminine work to you will look more like just witnessing your wounds, like witnessing your wounds, acknowledging your wounds, and really just, you know, working on them, like working on your soul mission. So when you get triggered by someone, whether it's a partner, a soulmate, or a friend, or whatever, a twin, if you're a twin, witness it, heal it, like keep working on this stuff. This is what we're meant to be doing, to ascend, to heal, to awaken even further, to teach if you're wanting to go into spiritual teaching as well. Like, this is the journey. Like, and as shit at times as it has been, I am so glad that I'm able to teach this now, because I understand so much about twin flames now, and I understand so much about the divine feminine and the work and the power she has to stand in. I'm like, I get it, universe, I get it. And so many people's amazing work, like Rebecca Campbell talks about the divine feminine a lot, and I used to connect to it but not fully, and now I just think like, I get it now, I get it. So yeah, if you feel called to be working on your divine feminine, or the work at the moment is to just show up every single day, like show up to your spiritual practices, show up to yourself, work on your self-love all the time. A lot of it is self-love work, and that comes along with healing as well. So you get to a stage where you kind of, and this is like, especially if you're just starting out in law of attraction, most of this will sound absolutely nuts to you. There are certain processes with spiritual awakening, so I kind of like level it now as such. So like level 1 is your kind of like entry level to spirituality, where you kind of, you're into law of attraction and you want to manifest your dream life. That's what I kind of dab as level 1. Level 2, I would say, is more like your angel work. It's kind of your spirit guide work. You're kind of learning to work, you're seeing more than law of attraction, you're kind of delving into spirituality, you're kind of delving into moon cycles, you're looking into other things other than just manifesting. You're acknowledging there's more out there than just you and the universe. You're acknowledging help and support from everything in the universe. Level 3, I would say, is your Course in Miracles level, where you're kind of like, you've nailed level 1 and level 2, and you're kind of looking for more, which is like a return to love, a Course in Miracles, and you're kind of, I would say, even the beginning of your divine feminine work. Twins, again, like I would say like your level 3 is mainly your, when everything's gonna go like crazy in your twin flame union. And then I think maybe I'm like level 3, level 4 kind of now. Like I feel like level 4 is like this whole implementation of your spiritual work being like, 1, surrendering time, being totally in the now, in the present, being love, like having no judgments, dissolving the ego, being totally oneness. And yeah, I'm not sure if there's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I haven't explored them yet, but this is like what level I'm at. So I would say I'm like kind of like level 3, 4. So there's like a guide if you feel like all of this sounds crazy, like stuff will and won't resonate with you. Like I said, like books and stuff, especially divine feminine stuff, it never really resonated with me, but now it's so relevant and so makes sense to me. So yeah, if you are a divine feminine and you just really want to like know what the work is and really work on that, it's just totally work on you, babes. Like that's the message. Work on you, work on your self-love, witness your wounds. Do not tolerate low-level behavior from anybody, because that is not her, that's not the divine feminine standing in her power. The divine feminine is saying, I witness this, I acknowledge this, and I'm saying I'm not accepting it. And yeah, it's not about being like a bitch or anything or being nasty, because you always act with love, but sometimes acting with love is love towards yourself. It's saying no, and it's saying I deserve better. And that came to me in a twin flame thing and past relationships. That could come to you in friendships, family relationships. It can come in any form. So yeah, like just have a look into the divine feminine, look into so much stuff, because there is so much work that us as a whole always need to do. And at the moment I'm feeling really called to looking at like sexual power and like healing that, and that's really interesting actually, because that really falls into the divine feminine work as well, all about like how as women we have been like quite suppressed, like this sounds, I don't know how to word this without sounding really weird. Like sex has always been like quite a taboo, I think, for women. Like if a man really likes sex, he's like commended for it. If a woman really likes sex, she's called a slut or a whore. And I feel like, you know, this could definitely like be past life stuff with everybody. Like I think as a whole, as a society, like, yeah, like women need to be equal in sex and equal in those feelings. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of learning at the moment, and I'm really excited about that, and I'm reading some really cool books, so I'm enjoying that. And yeah, like the divine feminine work is all about the healing of you. It's not like worrying about the masculine, it's not worrying about that. It's just like, you do your stuff, boo. Like I trust you, you need to go and do your work, but she is working on she right now. Like I am doing this, I am loving myself, I am like aligning my chakras, and I am just being Beyonce of the divine feminine, just being like, yes. And honestly, if you're a twin and you're thinking like, oh my god, I'm just waiting for him to do the work, I said that too, hun, and it was me who needed to do the work. And as soon as I did the work, oh, he magically did the work, and then union happened. So yeah, I am proof that once again the work always needs to happen. And yeah, even after this, like, you know, I'm still getting triggers now. Like even like as we're back into union, I am getting triggers, and I'm like, okay, don't ignore this time, witness it, work on it, heal it. And it has been incredible because I've been able to just acknowledge and deal with things so much easier from this place of like oneness, from this place of love, from this place of divine feminine power. Like, oh, it's all goodness. So yeah, I hope this video has helped you. And again, like if you haven't seen the Time Is All an Illusion video as well, like really watch that because this ties in really nicely together. But yeah, if you've got like any experiences yourself or questions, like put them in the comments box down below, like whether it's me or someone else who can help you. Like, you know, there's so much stuff we can talk about with the divine feminine, so I'm really interested to hear your experiences as well. And also your twin experiences. If you're a twin flame and you've like gone through this stuff, like, you know, for me and for everybody else, like I think it will really help. So make sure to share your experiences as well. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below because I reply to them all. And also make sure to join in on the conversation on my Facebook group, which will be linked in the description box also, because we always discuss these topics and it's great, and it's a great community for all of us to come together and chat all things law of attraction and spirituality. So I will see you in my next video, which will be next week. Lots of love, guys.